Hey, how's it going everyone? My name is Slomoo and welcome to another Battlefield 2042 gameplay commentary. In this video, we'll be touching down on more or less the controversial topics within the Battlefield community at the moment, as well as my personal opinions on this game considering I've played over 100 hours since launch, and what is the foreseeable future of Battlefield and what will it look like in the next few months. From an average gamer to a Battlefield veteran, if you've played this game any time since launch until now, you've most likely been very frustrated with the overall performance and feel of 2042. I spend a pretty good amount of time checking out the posts in the Battlefield 2042 subreddit, and from what I see, a lot of people are not happy with the game and I totally understand why. Now, don't get me wrong, before we get into the pros and cons, I just want to point out some positive things that this game has to offer. After the horrendous turnout of 128 player servers and the community pretty much yelled at the Battlefield developers, they finally opened their mind and gave us 32 player Rush and 64 player Breakthrough and Conquest servers. You might have noticed a little bit of a performance boost ever since they updated the game and gave us smaller game modes such as 32 and 64, but by no means did they fix the game by doing that. In fact, ever since those updates took place, such as the update 3 and 3.1, a lot of people have been experiencing brand new bugs and glitches that this game pretty much created out of nowhere. And while fixing some of the original problems such as hit registration and other core issues this game had, they created completely new ones that people have to deal with to this day. I've previously made a video discussing whether the Battlefield Rush and the Portal game modes are our saviors, and the simple answer to that is yes. Once they gave us the 32 and 64 player game modes, I saw a lot of people transition to those right away because 128 players is literally unplayable, like I said before. And from what I see the community say, and my personal opinion on this is that 64 and 32 should be the default game modes of this game, and the 128 player game mode should be something that people are able to play separately, for example like the Portal. I feel like a lot of people would be pretty satisfied with that, considering the fact that in 64 versus 64 player game modes you spawn right on each other's heads 90% of the time and will probably most likely get ran over and mowed down by vehicles. So if you're an infantry player, you're gonna have a really tough time playing 128 player servers. Another positive update that we received from the devs was the fix of hit registration and the recoil control of the SMGs and some of the other guns in this game. Honestly, the gun control feels much better and the hit registration is much better. You're actually able to kill your enemies and not have them eat half of your clip before your bullets register. So that's another thing that I could be happy about. Now, as a Battlefield fan myself, and I see a lot of people in the community are kind of worried about this, what exactly will the future of this game look like? And if you're a Battlefield player, are you still going to be able to play this game and get into lobbies in the next few months? That is the real question that the community is asking ourselves at this point. As of right now, I would give Battlefield 2042 a solid 4 or 5, maybe out of 10. The heroes are dull and uninspired and horribly imbalanced. The maps are still completely trash in my opinion, and a lot of open areas where people just have to fight in an open field pretty much, getting blown up by vehicles and aircraft non-stop. Followed by poor optimization, and the amount of guns is just a complete joke. The amount of missing features expected in any FPS game in 2021 is also a joke. For example, no leaning, no crouch running, no scoreboard, no persistent lobbies, no voice chat, etc, etc, etc. I want to touch down on one thing that I never understood why the developers did this. Why the fuck did you not give us a scoreboard? This is a competitive first-person shooter. You must see who does better than who. It's literally how you can tell who's a better player. You don't want to just get into a game, do a whole bunch of work, get a whole bunch of kills, and not know who was doing absolutely nothing and who was right along the side with you putting in work. I feel like them not providing us with such a simple feature as a scoreboard to see how the fuck you're doing in a match has completely took this game downhill from the very beginning. We've been basically begging DICE for a scoreboard since launch of the game, and they still haven't given us even an option to see how you're doing and how your teammates are doing in a match. Yes, you can see how many kills you have and you can see how many kills your squad mates have, but you can't open a scoreboard and see how the rest of your team is doing. For example, you get into a game of Rush, you're playing the objective, you're disarming and arming MCOMs, you're getting kills, and at the end of the game, you lost. And then you wonder, what the hell went wrong? I did all this work, I armed 4 MCOMs, I defused 3 MCOMs, I killed 45 people, and we lose the game. Then after that, you want to open the scoreboard and see who the hell was doing what, right? But no, the DICE developers said, You can't do that because that hurts people's feelings, so you won't talk shit to them. Now, my question is, has that solved anything at all? People will talk shit to each other in the chat no matter what. This is video games. This is what people do. So us not having a scoreboard only causes extra problems within the team and the game itself. Don't even get me started with the mouse input in this game. Oh my gosh, if you play this game on PC, there's a 100% chance you've noticed a mouse input delay of a fraction of a second. So when you're in a gunfight sometimes, it feels completely off and game breaking and frustrating and you just want to break your monitor. Yeah. It's almost as if the DICE developers tested the Battlefield 2042 mouse input with a blindfold on. As a little scenario, just imagine a person that's coding the Battlefield 2042 mouse input. He calls over his boss and he goes, "Hey Bob, come test this mouse input. I think I'm done here." Then Bob walks over backwards with a blindfold on, with his hands tied behind his back, moves the mouse around left and right and goes, "Yeah, feels good enough." That's literally the image I have in my mind of how that went down. If any of the DICE developers are watching this video right now, which is very likely, I just want to speak for the whole community and beg you guys to fix the mouse input and the optimization of this game. I feel like a lot of players will be totally okay with dealing with some of the annoying bugs and glitches that this game has if the major problems were fixed. At least the game will be a little bit more playable, and then you guys can focus on fixes of little glitches and stuff like that. At this very moment, the future of Battlefield 2042 doesn't seem too bright. I see the numbers decreasing very rapidly. A lot of people have gotten refunds and returned the game and don't play it whatsoever. Most of the generic game systems aren't able to run Battlefield 2042 whatsoever, which is a major turnoff for a casual gamer. And those are the people that hold most games on their shoulders. Not the core players, the casual players. So if everybody's returning and uninstalling the game is gonna die within the next few months or even before that. If DICE wants to keep this game alive, they need to really listen to the community and start making these changes ASAP. I know that the game developers are currently on a holiday vacation and I want to wish you guys happy holidays, but hoping that after you guys come back, you have your head in the right place and give us the fixes that we need in order to keep this game alive. In the past, we've seen something similar happen to other Battlefield titles, such as Battlefield 4, for example. At launch, the game was borderline unplayable, and a lot of people were complaining, and then eventually it became one of the better Battlefield titles out there. So I'm hoping and I have faith that 2042 turns out to be the same. Another major issue I wanted to mention in this game are vehicles. Now, vehicles are a core element in any Battlefield game and are very much needed, but definitely not like this. Let's be real. In Battlefield 2042, the vehicles are way overly accessible, way overpowered, have too much armor, to the point where in an infantry-based game like Battlefield, people choose to ride in vehicles all game long instead of running around and doing what you're supposed to be doing. And the fact that every single vehicle has a gunner attached to it that you can kill people with as a passenger is mind-blowing. Some vehicles should be used strictly for transport, just like it's always been, and some vehicles, like tanks, should be used to cause damage. That only makes sense. It could be really frustrating when you're trying to make a play and you see a group of 4 people zoom past you in a bolty and just completely mow you down with a gunner. Yeah, that's not a good feeling, and I think that should be fixed ASAP. A good way to fix that is either nerf vehicles as a whole or remove gunners from some of the transport vehicles, or give us an infantry-based maps or game modes where we're mainly focused on infantry gameplay instead of having to deal with vehicles the whole entire game. So with all things mentioned, and there are countless other problems that people constantly have to deal with in this game on a daily basis, if fixed, this game might have a second chance at life and might be playable in the future, but as of right now, we're still waiting for the developers to make a move on their end. I give it another 2-3 months max of people being patient until they run out of patience and completely forget about this game as a whole. But for now, let's at least try to enjoy the game at least a little bit, as difficult as it may be, and give them some time to figure their shit out and fix the game for us. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this is a little bit of a controversial, unorthodox topic that I brought to the table, and a lot of people have been talking about this as well, but I had to. Like I said, thank you for watching, stay patient, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield.